Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A 73-year-old Bellingham man has died after his car rolled multiple times before landing in a ditch in the state's north. The tragedy bringing traffic to a standstill for early morning commuters, with police at a loss as to how the crash occurred.
A Toyota Hilux now barely recognisable. The mangled wreckage the result of a single vehicle crash near Rochalee.
The vehicle's left the road on the left-hand side and gone through a ditch, rolled several times and ended up on its roof after travelling almost 100 metres.
Emergency services rushed to Lilydale Road just before 7 this morning to offer assistance, but it was too late to save the man behind the wheel, a 73-year-old Bellingham resident who died at the scene.
It was dry, so at the moment we're unable to explain why he's left the road on the left-hand side.
An early morning commute brought to a halt, with police forced to close the road for a number of hours. Police don't believe speed or weather conditions played a factor in the crash, but they are investigating if the driver had a medical episode. It's the third fatal single vehicle crash in the state in just over a week.
When you're driving a car, you need to get where you're going. You just can't assume that you're going to arrive there.
The tragedy takes Tasmania's road toll to 31, compared with 29 at the same time last year. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
There's trouble tonight for Harris Scarf and its Tasmanian stores, with the retailer descending into administration this afternoon. For more, our reporter Ruby Kemain joins us live. Ruby, good evening. Just what does it mean for our local staff and the stores?
Joe, it's a whole lot of uncertainty for staff in the lead up to Christmas. There are 5 stores across Tasmania, here in Hobart, Moona, Launceston, Devonport and Ulverston. The chain has 66 stores across the country and more than 1,800 staff. For now, they're keeping their jobs and stores are still trading as administrators take over and look to sell the business. They've assured staff entitlements are safe and shoppers that gift vouchers and lay-by deposits will be honoured. But Joe, it's certainly a worrying sign for the retail sector.
The state of Tasmania's struggling hospitals has been laid bare yet again, with new data revealing the true extent of the health crisis. It's been revealed 1 in 10 emergency department patients are left waiting almost 23 hours. But the minister's adamant change is on the way.
The Health Minister touring our busy hospitals.
So have you found it so far, your stay?
Announcing a 20-year partnership has officially been signed between the Hobart Private and Royal Hobart Hospitals. The central element expanding the private hospital's emergency department to be open 24/7, taking pressure off the overcrowded public system, giving public patients the chance to pay $185 to use the private ED.
We'll encourage patients who have the capacity to pay to come to our service, and since we've announced that we'll have our emergency department open, we've had a lot more utilisation of our department. There's up to 5 patients more a day.
This isn't about access for less advantaged or more advantaged Tasmanians. I want to be very clear about that. This is about better healthcare access for all Tasmanians.
It comes as new data found 10% of admitted patients spent almost 23 hours waiting in an ED, double the national average. And the proportion of patients admitted within clinically recommended times was just 60%. The Minister says she's opening more beds.
As we see those types of initiative impact on patient flow and more patient flow through the hospital, we're going to see better outcomes at the Royal Hobart Hospital.
Tasmanians want to be able to access care in their community. They want to be able to see a GP. They want to be able to stay well. They don't want to be waiting for elective surgery or having to present at the emergency department.
The Royal's new K block is expected to open next year. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Police are still searching for a man who allegedly threatened staff at gunpoint at a New Norfolk petrol station last Friday. Authorities today released this CCTV footage taken at Mood Food around 2 a.m. during the incident. They're now seeking help from the public to identify one of the men dressed in dark clothing with a balaclava covering his face. also searching for a silver Toyota hatch. A second man, a 22-year-old from Herdsman's Cove, has already faced court over the alleged incident. A Newnham woman has pleaded guilty to all charges following a violent home invasion which hospitalised a 75-year-old man. Kylie Herlihy faced the Launceston Supreme Court today, charged with aggravated burglary, aggravated armed robbery and stealing following the break-in on Heather Street in May this year. The occupant suffered significant injuries to his head and ribs. She's been remanded in custody and will be sentenced next Tuesday. Firefighters are hopeful a 3,000-hectare blaze burning near Swansea will be extinguished by Christmas. It's just the latest bushfire to test the state's resources, with 7 new aircrafts joining the fleet this summer.
In the wilderness near Swansea, crews take a torch to the ground, burning off dry vegetation before it has any chance to fuel a bushfire nearby. A lightning strike has been blamed for igniting the blaze last week. It's expected to keep burning for the next fortnight.
The weather is in our favour. The difficulty will be the northern side of the fire, which is difficult terrain, hilly terrain, hard to access.
Air crews are once again playing a key role in the fight.
It can be very challenging. The last week we've had some challenging winds up here, and it's been very trying for the pilots, and yeah, they're working on their limit.
This summer, 7 helicopters and planes have been contracted into the Tasmania Fire Service. Another 36 aircraft will be on call if things get out of hand. Aerial operations last season cost the state roughly $42 million.
Whatever it's worth, it's about protecting Tasmania's communities, and of course we need to put these fires out. Fires of course cause a lot of damage, and it's nowhere near the cost of rebuilding a town.
The fire boss says the aerial success speaks for itself.
Last year we put out 36 fires like that, and the year before we put out 50 fires like that on days of total fire ban. So it's been a tremendous success as far as our initial attack goes.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A popular walking area in the Tasman Peninsula has had a boost to its facilities and tracks as part of a long-term project. But as the visitor numbers continue to rise, concerns have been raised over a lack of infrastructure and accommodation to support tourism in the region.
A picturesque view for walkers from across the globe. This winding track to Crescent Bay, today reopened to the public after a makeover.
Bang for buck, this is going to be one of the best day walks in this region. It's the amount of view, field and change scenery you get for the amount of time you're walking will be extraordinary.
With new facilities and an upgraded car park added to the remarkable cave spot. Part of the final stage of the Three Capes project, seeing development in shorter walks throughout the region.
This will provide now the opportunity for single day walks and shorter walks as well, and we expect that in the coming months that we're going to see increased visitation here.
But some local businesses say a lack of accommodation already prevents current visitors from staying in the area and spending more locally.
I think that's where the peninsula struggles a little, is with accommodation, so people can spend more time here rather than just doing a day trip from Hobart.
The accommodation places we've got down here during the peak season are fully booked. Without that extra investment down here, it's taking the money back out of the economy, because then we do become a day trip place.
With the Mayor saying the area needs improved infrastructure to accommodate the tourist climb.
I would like to see a couple of larger developments down here. We've got some issues with that before that happens. We're lacking the infrastructure. We're the only municipality without a Taswater water supply.
Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
An anchor has been blamed for causing more than $2.5 million damage to a key energy supply cable to Bruny Island. The island's backup cable was damaged last month, divers finding it with an anchor hooked on. It will now take more than a year to replace, with extra diesel generators set up at Alona ahead of the busy summer tourist season. Experts say there's no cause for concern, but have reminded boaters to remain vigilant on the water. The Royal Australian Air Force has embarked on a heavy lifting operation from Tasmania to send vital new equipment to Antarctica. But the difficulty of polar aviation missions has been highlighted, with another country losing a plane with 38 people on board as it flew to the icy continent.
A C-17 Globemaster at Hobart Airport being prepared for a flight to Antarctica. The large Air Force jet taking on heavy lifting duties, transporting a specialist tractor to Wilkins Aerodrome.
It's a very large load, about almost 30 tonnes, but the aircraft is very capable and it won't be a difficult task to drive it on.
Adorned with the colourful artwork of Ken Doan, this tractor has been modified for the tough conditions it will experience.
They actually put in double glazing and, as you expect, a good heating system, radios, communications, radar that allows us to traverse inland.
It's part of a $16 million project to expand Australia's traversing capabilities in Antarctica. A convoy of vehicles capable of carrying a mobile station on a 1,200-kilometre inland journey.
There's 5 of the tractors, there's 3 snow groomers, and then there's 28 sleds, which are also being built in Tasmania, that will be carrying all of the equipment and the accommodation and the fuel for the system as well.
But as an Australian aircraft sets off on this mission, there's a sobering reminder about the extra challenges and dangers of Antarctic aviation. A Chilean aircraft with 38 people on board disappearing yesterday as it travelled to the icy continent.
Our condolences are with our colleagues in the Chilean program. Antarctic aviation is difficult at times.
The Australian Antarctic Division says it's offered assistance to Chile in the wake of the incident. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmanian News.
More than 900 Tasmanian children are set to receive some special gifts this Christmas thanks to the generosity of the community. Volunteers today started to pack up thousands of donated toys and books, ready to be sent to those most in need across the state.
Look, many of the families we work with are doing it a bit tough, and Christmas is an especially difficult time. And some of the mums that we speak to and dads say that it makes a really big difference for them. It takes a lot of stress off their family.
The Smith family is also aiming to raise around $4 million nationwide for the appeal. A driver safety program that began in Tasmania is today celebrating a major milestone. The Keys to Drive program has been running for 10 years and advocates say it's helping save young lives.
When 16-year-old Caden Page passed his learner's test in August, he couldn't wait to get behind the wheel.
It was pretty exciting. It's something I'd been waiting for a long time. Just to get out on the road and have a bit more freedom.
But he falls into the demographic of young people with a tendency to engage in risky behaviour in the driver's seat.
When you don't have experience, maybe your ego drives you a bit and you think that you've done this before, you know what you're doing.
In the last 2 years, 15 people under the age of 29 have died on our state's roads. The free Keys to Drive program is hoping to lower those frightening figures, helping teach learners like Caden the basics.
The car coming towards you, checking that mirror behind, of course. It's all about safety, it's all about them being solo, and it's all about them taking responsibility for what they do as a driver.
The initiative was birthed in Tasmania and today celebrated its 10th birthday. Since it began, 6,500 young people across the state have signed up.
I learned a lot of things just about being aware and the risks and just looking out where you're going.
Driving is something that you need to take seriously, and if you don't get it right, there can be serious consequences.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmanian News.
For the first time, Tasmania will host the final rounds of the Australian Off-Road Championship. Rounds 11 and 12 of next year's series will take place in Wynyard, meaning multiple national champions will be crowned in the state. The AORC says North West Coast rider Matt Phillips has been instrumental in securing the titles for Tasmania. More than 200 riders are expected to race in the Tasmanian leg in mid-October, and that's fantastic news, Joe. A lot of riders up on the coast participate in that competition, so it'd be great for them to have a chance to do it in their own backyard.
Good evening. A mostly cloudy day today with temperatures within a couple of degrees of average. Hobart 22, Launceston 21, Burnie 20, Devonport 18. Campania the high with 24 after Lyawini and Butler's Gorge posted the low of 1. St Helens 23 degrees, Friendly Beaches and Ooze 22, Grove got to 21, Low Head and Flinders Island 18 and Strawn 17. We had patchy low and high cloud over us today, just a few light showers over the west, the northeast a bit clearer than most. A series of weak fronts produced a fair bit of cloud south of the mainland. Thunderstorm clouds are over northeast New South Wales and southeast Queensland, central areas of WA and also the Territory. A low has cloud off the coast and over the Coral Sea off Queensland. Tomorrow, a cold front over our region and a high over the northern bight produce a west to southwest airstream over Tasmania. A large low lies off the north of the nation. Winds at 20 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the northeast and south, and then tending southerly over the east in the afternoon. A strong wind warning has been issued between Stanley and St Helens Point, and also for waters between Wineglass Bay and Low Rocky Point. 18 the high for Hobart, with a shower or two clearing tomorrow. Same for Cygnet with 17 degrees and 18 for New Norfolk. Launceston tomorrow, a high of 22, partly cloudy. Devonport up to 20 and Campbelltown the same, bit of cloud in the air. Burnie, partly cloudy and 19, 16 for Strawn with a shower or two easing. Smithton 17 degrees, 22 for St Helens with an afternoon shower, partly cloudy for Swansea. Fingal similar and both on 21. UV very high across the state. On Friday, fine and partly cloudy, except for showers increasing to rain in the west. Early showers on Saturday over the west and south, easing as light showers develop over the east afterwards. And on Sunday, showers predicted again, not so much over the north and east. They better stock the beverage stalls at the cricket tomorrow. 39 in Perth, sunny in Adelaide, a cloudy 19 in Melbourne. Sydney, a possible shower or storm in Brisbane and Darwin. Cloudy in Hobart, 17 right now, 18 in Launceston, bit of cloud about, same for Devonport, but 16 degrees. Joe, that's the way it all is at the moment on the weather front.
All right, thank you very much for that, Murph, and that's all from the team for now. Thanks so much for your company. We'll see you a little later. Bye-bye.